You go to bed at 10, and by 2 in the morning your hands are asleep before you are. That buzzing static crawling into your fingers, that tingling in your feet, isn't just getting older. It's your nerves running short on specific fuel they need overnight. And there's actual published research on exactly which foods restore it, tested in people your age, not lab rats. Stay with me, because one part of this research surprised even me, and it's not what you'd expect. Quick and honest before anything else. Tingling that's constant spreading, or paired with weakness or balance problems should be checked by a doctor, because it can signal diabetes or a real vitamin deficiency. What we're covering today is the food side of this, the part that supports the systems involved night after night. Now let's get into what the research actually shows, because there's more going on inside your hands and feet than most people ever get told. There are 3 things usually behind this kind of nighttime tingling. Poor circulation starving the nerve of oxygen, a vitamin imbalance affecting how the nerve sends its signal, and low magnesium, the mineral your nerves use to reset themselves after every single signal they fire. All 3 get worse, specifically at night. You're lying flat, your circulation naturally slows, and whatever raw materials your nerves need have to already be in your bloodstream by the time you fall asleep. If they're not there, the nerve doesn't get what it needs to reset properly, and it misfires instead. That misfire is exactly what that buzzing, crawling, static feeling actually is. Here's the part most people never get explained to them clearly. A healthy nerve works something like a wire that's been dipped in insulation. Signals travel along it cleanly, start to finish, with almost no interference. As we age, 3 separate things can start wearing at that wire from different directions at once. The insulation itself, called myelin, can thin out if certain nutrients run low. The electrical reset between signals can get sloppy if minerals like magnesium run low. And the wire itself can simply be starved of oxygen if the blood flow reaching it slows down, which happens naturally with age and happens even more at night when you're lying flat and your circulation is working against gravity instead of with it. None of these 3 things fix themselves overnight, and none of them are as simple as one single food. But each one responds measurably to specific things you put into your body, and that's exactly what the research over the next several minutes walks through, one piece at a time. Start with magnesium, because the research here isn't theoretical, it's measured in real patients, not guessed at. Magnesium works almost like a brake pedal for your nerves. Every time a nerve fires a signal, it needs magnesium to help reset itself before it can fire correctly again. Without enough of it, nerves become what researchers call hyperexcitable, meaning they start firing when they shouldn't, randomly, which is what produces that tingling buzzing sensation with no obvious trigger. Researchers actually track this directly in cancer patients receiving chemotherapy drugs known to damage nerves and cause exactly this kind of tingling and numbness in the hands and feet. The patients with higher magnesium intake in their regular diet had roughly half the rate of these nerve symptoms compared to those eating less of it. That's not a supplement company's marketing claim. That's a published prevalence ratio measured in real patients being treated for cancer. A small handful of pumpkin seeds, about 2 tablespoons an hour before bed, is one of the most concentrated food sources of magnesium there is, more concentrated gram for gram than almost anything else in a typical kitchen. Some people notice a difference within days. For most, it takes a few weeks, since mineral levels in your body build up gradually rather than resetting overnight from a single dose. Here's the part of this that actually surprised me while I was digging through the research, and it changes how you should think about the next 2 things on this list entirely. There's a real published case of a 76-year-old man who went to the hospital with painful tingling spreading through both his hands and feet. Doctors ran brain scans, they ran spinal scans. Nothing showed up on either one. Eventually, almost as an afterthought, they tested his vitamin B6, and it came back low, well below the normal range for his age. Within 1 week of correcting it, his symptoms improved dramatically enough that it was written up as a case report. And here is the thing, B6 deficiency isn't rare in people your age. A study of nursing home residents in their mid-80s found that nearly half of them, 49%, had lab-confirmed B6 deficiency, mostly from reduced absorption that comes naturally with age, not from a poor diet. But here's the twist almost nobody mentions, and it's the part that should genuinely change how you think about supplements. Researchers reviewing the evidence found something almost backwards. Too much B6, almost always from high-dose supplement pills, not from food, causes the exact same sensory nerve damage as too little. Same symptom, opposite cause. People take a B6 supplement hoping to fix tingling, and in high enough doses over time, it can actually be what's causing it. That's exactly why food sources matter more than pills here, because you cannot meaningfully overdose on B6 from a banana. A banana with a small spoon of natural peanut butter covers this well. Food-based B6 alongside a slow-digesting protein that keeps your blood sugar steady through the night, since blood sugar swings are a well-documented trigger for nerve symptoms in older adults. While we're on the subject of vitamins, there is a second one worth knowing about because it's more directly tied to nerve damage than B6 is, and it's more common than people assume. Vitamin B12 is essential for building and maintaining myelin, the protective coating around your nerves, and low B12 is one of the best established nutritional causes of tingling and numbness in the hands and feet, well documented enough that it's one of the first things a doctor typically checks when someone comes in with this exact complaint. A hospital study looking specifically at patients with diabetes-related nerve damage found B12 deficiency was significantly more common in older patients, over half in the 46 to 60 age range, compared to only about 1 in 7 in patients under 45. It also climbed sharply the longer someone had lived with diabetes, which tells you this isn't just an age effect on its own, it compounds with other conditions over time. B12 mainly comes from animal foods, eggs, fish, dairy, lean meat, and absorption naturally declines with age for a very specific reason. Your stomach produces less of the acid needed to release B12 from food as you get older, even if your diet itself hasn't changed at all. That's part of why this one catches so many people off guard. They're eating the same way they always have, and their body is simply absorbing less of it than it used to. A couple of eggs or a small serving of fish earlier in the day supports this steadily. It's not a single-dose fix like magnesium can feel like. It's a slow, cumulative rebuild that plays out over months, not nights. Now, here's where the research takes a turn nobody talks about in these videos, because it's not about vitamins at all anymore, it's about fat, and specifically the kind most people think they should be avoiding entirely. A large study out of Italy tracked over 800 people, ranging from their 20s all the way into their 90s, for 3 full years. Instead of asking people how they felt, researchers measured actual nerve conduction speed in the leg, using real electrodes, the same kind of test a neurologist would run if you went in complaining of numbness. People with lower omega-3 levels in their blood and a poor ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats showed a measurably faster decline in that nerve conduction speed over the following 3 years, compared to people with healthier fat levels. That's the myelin piece from earlier, the insulation wrapped around the wire. It's partly built from these fats, and unlike a nerve fiber itself, myelin is constantly being maintained and rebuilt throughout your life, which means a steady incoming supply of the right fats actually matters year after year, not just once. A small serving of fatty fish, like sardines or salmon, eaten a few hours before bed, or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed if fish isn't something you eat often, supports that maintenance directly, working over weeks and months rather than overnight. This is not a fast one. Of everything on this list, it's the slowest to show a difference, and also one of the most consistently supported by long-term research, which is exactly why it's easy to overlook in favor of something that promises a same-night result. One more thing quietly makes all of this worse, and it's not about food at all. It's about a sense most people don't realize weakens with age. Your thirst signal itself gets duller as you get older, a well-documented change in how your brain senses fluid needs. That means you can be mildly low on fluids without ever feeling thirsty enough to notice it, which is very different from younger adults, whose thirst reliably kicks in before dehydration becomes an issue. Many people also intentionally cut back on water before bed specifically to avoid getting up at night, which compounds the problem further. The result works against circulation, since even mild fluid loss thickens the blood slightly and slows flow to the areas furthest from your heart, your hands and feet, which are already the first places in your body to feel any drop in circulation. Now, the last one, And this is the one where the research genuinely surprised the scientists running the study, enough that it's worth understanding exactly how the experiment worked. Researchers took a group of healthy older men, average age around 69, and had them drink about 140 milliliters of concentrated beetroot juice, a specific measured dose containing roughly 800 milligrams of dietary nitrate on one visit, and a placebo drink with the nitrate removed on another visit. About 2.5 hours later, they used ultrasound to measure blood flow specifically in the femoral artery, the artery that runs down the thigh and feeds circulation into the leg. The real beetroot drink produced a measurable improvement in how well that artery opened up and let blood flow through compared to the placebo in the same men on different days. That's not a food blogger's claim. That's an artery being measured directly with medical imaging in men in their late 60s, which is about as close to a real-world test as this kind of research gets. And it's a stronger design than most nutrition studies you'll ever come across, since each man served as his own comparison rather than being measured against a completely different group of people. Beets and leafy greens like spinach are naturally high in the same dietary nitrate used in that study. The path it takes through your body is oddly specific. Once you swallow it, bacteria living on the back of your tongue convert the nitrate into nitrite, a related compound. That nitrite then travels to your stomach, where the acidic environment converts a portion of it into nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for relaxing and widening blood vessels so more blood and more oxygen can actually reach the nerve endings furthest from your heart, your hands, and your feet. It's a strange thing to picture, a vegetable pigment being processed by bacteria on your tongue before it ever does anything for your legs, but that oral bacterial step is well established in this research, and it's part of why some people rinse with antibacterial mouthwash and unknowingly blunt the entire effect. A small glass of beet juice or a serving of cooked spinach worked in an hour or so before bed uses that exact same pathway measured in that study. So here's how all 5 of these fit together for tonight, and none of it requires doing everything at once. About an hour before bed, a small handful of pumpkin seeds, roughly 2 tablespoons, for magnesium. A banana with a small spoon of natural peanut butter for food-based B6 and steady overnight blood sugar. Earlier in the day, a couple of eggs or a small serving of fish for B12, since that one works best built up gradually rather than right before sleep. A few nights a week, a small serving of fatty fish like sardines or salmon, or a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for the omega-3s your nerve sheath needs. A modest glass of water in the evening, enough to stay ahead of a thirst signal that may not be as reliable as it used to be, without overdoing it right at bedtime. And beets or spinach worked into dinner a few times a week for the nitrate pathway that Beetroot study measured directly in the leg artery. Notice something about that list. 2 of these, the pumpkin seeds and the beet juice or spinach, work fast, often within days, because they're acting on something already in your system: magnesium's electrical reset and nitric oxide's effect on blood vessels. 2 of them, the B12 and the omega-3s, work slowly over weeks to months, because they're rebuilding structural material, myelin and nerve insulation, not just adjusting a chemical signal. And the B6 and hydration pieces sit somewhere in between. Knowing which category each one falls into matters, because if you only try the slow ones and give up after 4 days, you'll have quit right before they were about to start working. Start with just one of these, whichever feels easiest to actually keep up, and give the slower ones real time before judging whether they're doing anything. Consistency over several weeks matters far more than trying to do all 5 perfectly on night 1. And if you try this consistently for a few weeks and the tingling isn't easing up at all, or it's spreading, or it starts coming with pain or weakness, that's the point where it stops being a food adjustment and becomes something worth getting checked, since nerve symptoms like this are also one of the earliest ways your body flags a vitamin deficiency or diabetes, while both are still easy to treat. Tell me in the comments which one of these you're starting with tonight and how long you've been dealing with this, because I read every single comment myself. If this helped you understand what's actually happening in your own hands and feet at night, hit subscribe, because we'll keep digging into research most people never hear about. And as always, this is general information, not medical advice, so check with your doctor before making changes, especially if you manage diabetes, take blood thinners, or have kidney concerns, since a few of the things we covered tonight, potassium-rich foods and dietary nitrates included, are worth reviewing with your doctor first, If any of those apply to you,